Soccer has many things in common with pro wrestling. There are great rivalries such as the one between Real Madrid and Barcelona. It is very physical, with acrobatic gestures and of course charismatic personalities, whose matches we look at every week. But there were even concrete interactions between the two universes. It's a pleasure to meet you on the Wrestling Paradise to tell you the craziest stories about pro wrestling and soccer. Are you ready to be shocked to learn how the coach José Mourinho was verbally attacked on Monday Night Raw? Are you wondering what very concrete contacts Cristiano Ronaldo or Wayne Rooney had with the WWE? Do you want to learn more about Drew Mac Intyre's story with the legendary Glasgow Rangers? Do you want to find out which footballer seriously tried to become a wrestler? And are you curious about who won the 2022 World Cup in the WWE? You are in the right place, because in our video we will tell you about the most amazing connections between the football world and sports entertainment. And they may surprise you. You are on the Wrestling Paradise, the craziest stories about pro wrestling and soccer. Here we go. José Mourinho is a character who would undoubtedly have his place in the WWE universe. The one who is one of the greatest coaches in soccer history, who won the Champions League with Porto and Inter Milan, and who coached big clubs like Real Madrid, is probably, in some aspects at least, the soccer equivalent of Mr. McMahon in the pro wrestling world. Between tasty punchlines on his opponents, a very entertaining behavior, an arrogance that would make him an excellent villain in sports entertainment, and obviously a winning personality, José Mourinho has never left any soccer fan indifferent. You love him or you hate him.
Overturning the odds in the Champions League.
And imagine that the special one, a nickname he had since the beginning of his career, already had interactions with the pro wrestling universe. First of all, you should know that, in 2007, Mourinho was sitting in ringside of a Monday Night Raw show that was recorded in London, England. He explained that the reason he was going to this show was because his children were WWE fans, which they watched at home. José thought it was cool to be with his children in front of people they admire. For the record, at the time, while traveling with his Chelsea team, Mourinho had crossed paths with Chris Benoit, the infamous wrestler who was in one of the biggest scandals in WWE history in 2007. Apparently, seeing how massive and muscular a superstar could be, he was impressed, and he later said that Chris Benoit's hand was stronger than his own leg, so he preferred not to make the wrestlers mad and rather be friends with them. At the time when his Chelsea team was preparing for a Champions League semi-final against Liverpool, José Mourinho was at Monday Night Raw, and we can say that it was a memorable evening for him. In this April 23, 2007 edition of The Red Show, first he was verbally attacked by Shane McMahon, Vince's son, who recognized him in the crowd when he was looking for an opponent for his match. Shane, not a great soccer connoisseur apparently, said he was the head coach of the Chelsea football match. Then he said that José didn't have the courage to face him, and then, when he introduced his opponent, he said that he had beaten 6 men the day before in a pub, at least if they could be called men, and then Shane addressed José saying that they were probably players from his Chelsea football club. To all these provocations from this villain character that Shane McMahon was, Mourinho had nothing to say, although he didn't have a microphone to answer obviously. On that day, he will still take a picture with Vince McMahon and Shane, and we imagine that this is a special memory for him, especially since he was able to attend a memorable 55-minute main event between John Cena and Shawn Michaels, one of the best matches of the year 2007. And for the record, when the special one was coaching Manchester United in 2018, he received a visit from Rey Mysterio. So when we know all this, we can ask ourselves a question. Isn't José Mourinho the most WWE-style football personality? If I ask you which footballer could be a WWE superstar, you could think of players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Mario Balotelli, who clearly have the physique and the personality of one.
And you know better football than me? No. So why are you talking about?
But it is a German goalkeeper who tried his luck in pro wrestling, Tim Wiese. At the age of 34, this former Werder Bremen goalkeeper, who was even Manuel Neuer's substitute in the German national team during the 2010 World Cup, announced that he wanted to get into sports entertainment. And we can say that this man, who nicknamed himself the Machine, took this dream very seriously. For 2 years, the footballer gained 80 pounds of muscle, spending an hour and a half a day in the weight room, 5 times a week, eating 6,000 to 7,000 calories a day, including about 2 pounds of rice and 900 grams of chicken, with carbohydrate-based drinks and egg white. He managed to reach the weight of 280 pounds, and he even got a tryout in the WWE, with Triple H complimenting his tenacity. The highlight of Tim Wiese's pro wrestling experience will remain his participation in a match alongside Cesaro and Sheamus against Primo, Epico and Bo Dallas in a non-televised show of the Stanford Federation in Germany. After that match, Cesaro praised Wee, saying that it was one of the best debuts he had seen, while the former goalkeeper, for his part, thought it was a warming up against children and said he wanted real men from now on. In any case, we can only respect his performance. During the Football World Cup in Qatar, at the end of 2022, we can say that the WWE played the game and wanted to take advantage of the enthusiasm that this international event generated. The federation set up the WWE World Cup, a tournament between wrestlers each representing their country, whose winner would earn an opportunity for the Intercontinental title held by the Austrian Gunther. Imagine that it was a competition that was won by Ricochet, who represented the United States and who had beaten Santos Escobar's Mexico in the final. At the same time, several wrestlers posed with their country's jersey and expressed their support, including the almighty Bobby Lashley, who said that, even if they were not favorites, he was rooting for the United States, just like Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of former boss Vince McMahon, also did. Unfortunately for them, they saw their country undergo a count of 3 by the Netherlands in the knockout stages. Will the WWE create an even more important interaction with the football world during the 2026 World Cup, of which America will be one of the host countries? We'll see.
And then it happens.
The most surreal exchange between the wrestling world and soccer is probably the one that took place in February 2024 in Saudi Arabia. In this country, where the WWE has often set up shows since 2018, there was a match counting for the Riyadh Season Cup between the teams of Al Hilal and Al Nassr, the club of Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest players of all time. And on that day, before the match, a WWE personality came to present the trophy to the crowd, and not just anyone. The Undertaker. In an epic staging with lightning fire, the music of the dead man to accompany his slow entrance, the Phenom therefore made a memorable and spectacular appearance in the football world, an arrival that made Cristiano Ronaldo smile. The Portuguese was perhaps impressed by the Undertaker's size, who is about 1 foot taller than Lionel Messi. The man who once had an unbeaten streak at WrestleMania, where he remained undefeated for many years, simply lifted the scarf placed on the cup and held it up, before returning to the locker room, to then have a nice check. On the other hand, we can say that the dead man did not bring good luck to Ronaldo, since Al Hilal will win 2-0. Rest in peace, Cristiano. On the other hand, what is incredible is that, for the Crown Jewel show in Saudi Arabia at the end of 2023, the WWE was in talks with the Portuguese player so that he would appear at the event. But unfortunately, it didn't happen, since a match of his team was finally scheduled the same evening.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Before becoming WWE superstars, some wrestlers had a history with the football world, and you may be surprised. For example, the impressive Mason Ryan, who had the potential to become the new Batista and who was part of the new Nexus on screen, was a footballer before making a career in sports entertainment, playing for the Welsh club Porthmadog FC. As for the wrestler Eva Marie, she played soccer at a high level during her studies, where she played at the number 9 position in attack. And Trish Stratus practiced soccer too, but also field hockey at university. But the wrestler who has the strongest history with this sport is probably the Scot Drew Mac Intyre. Before becoming a monster and succeeding in the WWE, he once dreamed of playing for his favorite club, Glasgow Rangers. But one day, after a match where he wanted to fight with the referee, Mac Intyre realized that he was too aggressive, and he instead went to pro wrestling. It's funny to point out that, at the time when Glasgow Rangers was relegated to the Scottish 4th Division because of financial problems, Drew Mac Intyre was telling his colleagues who were pushing him with Celtic, the Rangers' great rival who was seeing its enemy crumble, that Batman needed the Joker. And it is undeniable that, just like pro wrestling, a football club needs great rivals to shine. Moreover, we can say that Drew Mac Intyre's career was like his favorite club. After being fired from the WWE, he also did an epic comeback over several years to finally win the main title of the company, just like the Rangers who, after years in purgatory, became Scottish champions again in 2021. In this mixture of the football world and the WWE, we can note the interaction that Wayne Rooney once had with Wade Barrett. First of all, we must remember that Rooney is a legendary English player, one of the icons of Manchester United, where he has won many trophies and scored memorable goals. In November 2015, when Wayne Rooney was playing under Louis van Gaal at Manchester United, he found himself in a confrontation with wrestler Wade Barrett at the Manchester Arena, where an edition of Monday Night Raw was taking place. After being insulted by Wade Barrett, Rooney invited him to come face him and slapped him. a gesture that immediately became iconic and is one of the most amazing interactions between a footballer and a wrestler. The story continued with Wade Barrett's visit to Old Trafford, the Manchester United stadium, where he was looking for Wayne Rooney for revenge, but he didn't find him and finally sat down on his seat in the dressing room. For the record, there is another British player, Vinnie Jones, who has the reputation of being one of the most violent football players of all time and who had notably won the FA Cup with the Wimbledon club by managing to beat Liverpool, who also appeared on screen in the WWE. In the Capital Carnage pay-per-view in December 1998, which took place in London, Vinnie Jones was a special guest for the main event between Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kane, Mankind, and The Undertaker. Although he was sent off, he was able to come back at the end of the match to have a beer with the Texas Rattlesnake.
This Sunday, West Ham kick off the season at Manchester United live.
Finally, an amusing link between football and the ring concerns the English club Arsenal. Imagine that for the past few years, the club has simply been using wrestlers' music as the last song during halftime before the teams return to the field to resume the match. It all started in July 2020, when the absence of fans in the stadiums due to the pandemic led to the players being re-motivated by entering the field to the sound of the game, the excellent song performed by Motorhead, and which is the famous music of Triple H. The images of this entrance on the theme song of the Cerebral Assassin immediately went around social media, so much so that even Triple H commented on it, saying that there was no better music for Arsenal than this one. And yet, Triple H is a supporter of the other London club West Ham, which is also supported by Batista, Triple H's guy in the Evolution clan. And it didn't stop there, since week after week, Arsenal decided to pay tribute to a different wrestler, with in particular the music of Kurt Angle, but also the one of the deceased Bray Wyatt at the time of his death, which was a very nice gesture on the part of the Arsenal DJ. And that was it for these craziest stories about pro wrestling and football. I hope that our video interested you and that you had a good time. With all these stories, we could see that these are two universes that not only have common points but have even had many concrete interactions, with personalities who appear in the world of sports entertainment, for example. And I have a debate for you on this topic, which will interest pro wrestling and football fans. For you, what are the football matches who reminded you the most of the WWE in terms of spectacle, suspense, and star power? We invite you to come and give your opinion. It will be interesting to talk about it together in the comments. We can say that the pro wrestling universe is absolutely fascinating. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay on the Paradise of Wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?